And hey, welcome to another episode of the Theater Professor vidcast. My name is Terry Dana Chikimak II, and I am the Theater Professor, and we are going to continue our series on Autodesk Sketchbook for the desktop. I started the series a little while ago, and I'm jumping right back into it this week. Last week, well, not last week anymore, because I've had to put a couple weeks between videos. If you hadn't noticed, the theaterprofessor.com has gotten an update. I ask that you stop by there, take a visit, become a free artists member, and enjoy what we have to offer over at the Theater Professor. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you know what? Hit that subscribe button, become a subscriber, become a friend of mine, and ask me questions. I like to answer them. Well, mostly I like to answer them. Yeah, I like to answer them. I'm not going to lie. This week we are going to be looking at a couple more of the top tool set of Sketchbook, and there's some really cool tools that you don't always see in art applications, tools that can make your life a lot of fun, kind of like owning a TARDIS. And now, if you own a TARDIS, I ask that you stop by my house at some point in the next week, and I would love to go back in time and maybe win a lottery somewhere or something like that. You know, it's been a little rough. So let's move right along. The tools that I'm talking about are up top here. They're the ruler tool, the ellipse tool, the French curve, the perspective guides, and symmetry tool. Now we're gonna kind of blow through these pretty quick because this is a tutorial, and I don't want this to be an hour-long thing where you have to sit through and listen to my horrible voice drone on as I continue to talk. But let's jump right in here with the ruler. Look at this. It's a ruler. It is indeed a ruler. Look at that. It's not really a ruler. What it is a straight edge. And what I mean by straight edge is it allows you to draw straight lines. So you can see I've got a pencil tool. I'm actually going to grab this felt pen tool. And if I try and draw, see my cursor up here, my cursor, it draws along where the straight edge is in a straight line. Look at that. That's nice. Allows you to get those nice straight lines. Now you'll see here 1, 2, 3 buttons and an X. Well, we know what the X does, right? It gets rid of this. We don't want to do that yet. Let's look at our 3 buttons. If I grip this button and I bring it, there we go. Now I can do a line that connects here and comes out. Look at that. Some nice geometric patterns going on. Same thing would happen over here. So if I take this one, I can take it. Why don't we make a nice little triangle here? Triangle Man, meet Triangle Man. So They Might Be Giants song. If you've never listened to They Might Be Giants, do it now. And then finally, the center one allows you to move your line around, as we can see here. Okay? You can indeed slide your other 2 points up and down, and what that does is when it's farther away, you can make much smaller movements. If you're in really close, it's much harder to make small movements. You tend to make big movements as you rotate around. Of course, this tool can be used to draw straight lines and more straight lines. And when you get bored, you can draw more straight lines. Yep. The straight line tool. The ruler tool. All right, moving on. I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer and make this one invisible. Visible. There we go. We're going to turn this off by hitting the X. Boom, it's gone. And let's pick up the ellipse tool. What is an ellipse? An ellipse is an oval. I know it's very technical here. So here's our ellipse. The center button allows you to move your ellipse around. Your top button allows you to squishy your ellipse. Your right button allows you to rotate your ellipse. And let's go back here. And your left button allows you to size your ellipse. So one of the things that I love to do with the ellipse is I'll draw one ellipse, make it a little bigger, draw another ellipse, make it a little bitter. It's very, very bitter. And now we have an ellipse within an ellipse within an ellipse within an ellipse, which is a lot of fun. I think it looks cool. All right, and that's what it does. You draw ellipses with it. You draw different circles. Okay, you can then, if you really want to, you draw your ellipse, then grab your ruler tool, Get that lined up to right here. And oops. There we go. Let's put that there. And put the other end and connector right here. And now our two ellipses are connected. Yep. It's a night. All right. Our next tool is the French curve, and I love French curves. I'm going to add myself a new layer. New layer. Turn off the previous layer. This is a French curve. What is a French curve? A French curve is a curve from France. Actually, there's much more, larger explanation to that, and I'm not going to get into it. So if you want a tutorial on why a French curve is called a French curve, my suggestion would do a Google search. Why is French curve called French curve? Cool thing about French curves is it gives you lots of different curved type areas. You know, the ellipse only gives you one type of curve. This gives you all sorts of curves. And again, just like anything else, it follows you right along the curve like that. Center button allows you to move it. So we could do something like this. Boom. Your top button, and actually you have two top buttons. We're going to do the bottom top button first. Flips it left and right. Your right button rotates and your left sizes. Now your top button changes the different French curves because there are indeed different French curves. So here I've added different French curve. So let's say we did that. Then we could flip it. We could add it right there. And there we go. Now we have our second French curve. It almost looks like I'm creating a weapon of some sort, an axe of death and destruction. I like it. And then you have this French curve, which is a third French curve. And then we're back to our first French curve, okay? So 1, 2, 3 French curves in the French curve pack. A lot of fun, lovely, and enjoyable. I'm going to skip our next one because we're going to come back to it. It is the perspective guides. And instead, I'm going to jump here to our mirror tool. I'm going to create a new layer, of course, because I'm layer-tastic. Oops, there we go. And I'm going to turn on the mirror tool. Now, the mirror tool comes with a point in the middle that you can grip and move around. Right now, you'll see I have both the Y and the X axis on mirror. I'm going to turn them both off to show you when both are off, nothing interesting happens. We'll turn on the Y axis. Now when I draw, it mirrors it. Yeah, that's the point of the mirror tool. So I've got this guy going on right here. Hey guys, I'm ready for my close-up. He's got a huge mohawk. Okay. Next up, if we turn that off, we can turn on our X-axis. Move this down a little bit, and you'll see that. Okay. And then, of course, you can turn them both on and get 4 corners. Now, this next one here, this extends or stop the strokes at the center line. Let me add a new layer so you can see it a little better. Oh, I'm out of... Oh, whoa, just made 800 layers. So right now, I'm going to turn extensions on. So now when I cross over, it continues to cross over like that. If I were to come up here and turn the extend stroke off, what you'll see instead is, and it's a little hard to see there, it doesn't extend my strokes. So, for example, There we go. Sorry, I had it. It was. Now it's stopping it. So now watch. See, my strokes don't extend. They stop at the line. Okay. But if I click it, now they do extend. Meaning as I cross over, it continues to mirror on the crossover. If I've got it turned off, it does not mirror on the crossover. It stops right at the line. Now I can come back, but it's dead in the water there. Boom. Finally, you have this lock and unlock symmetry lines. So you can see I can move it around. You can actually lock it in place. And you can actually hide it while still getting symmetry to happen. All right, that's the symmetry tool. Finally, let's finish up with our last one, which is indeed our perspective grid, which is a perspective grid. You'll see here we have 4 types of perspectives. We have 1-point mode, which means that all of our lines travel to that single point. So wherever I draw, if I'm drawing left to right, it will go back to that single point. Now you notice here, if I draw vertical, it stays vertical. Vertical is vertical, okay? But anything back at an angle towards that point goes to that point. If we do 2-point perspective, that means we have 2 points available. And let me move them in a little bit so we can see. Meaning that when I draw, I can go either to that point or to that point, depending on the direction that I head towards. Okay, so everything travels to those 2 points, unless I'm going vertical. Our next one is 3-point, and 3-point is not one that I use often, but it can do some really cool building effects. It generally means you're going to be going to 3 points, which is our top point up top, which you can't see really well. There we go. I'm going to clear this layer because if I'm going to do all this and then do new points for my points, it's going to look ridiculous. Ridiculous. Let's grab this one here. There we go. Bring this one over here. There we go. Now we've got, this one goes to that point. I can go down to that point, or I could go up to that point. Okay? And you can do it from outside the box too. Again, 3-point perspective is not one that I use often, but you can indeed find it and use it if you so choose. And then finally, the last one, which is really cool, is our spherical perspective, which allows you to do cool little fisheye things, you know, as if you were looking in a fisheye. It goes towards those 2 points or those 2 points, but it curves itself as it does it. See? And you can have a lot of fun with it. You know, just kind of mess around with it, see what you can create. But those are the perspectives tools. And why would you use perspective? Well, if you're trying to create true perspective. If you don't know what perspective is, well, that's a whole nother lesson that I'll have to get into. But if you know what perspective is, know that the Autodesk Sketchbook allows you to work in perspective mode. It's awesome for me as a scene designer because it allows me to get my perspective true when I am creating my initial drawings. All right, that's it for this week on the Theater Professor vidcast. My name's Terry Dana-Jakimiak II. I'm the Theater Professor, and of course, I want you to stop by www.thetheaterprofessor.com. Check out the website, enjoy what I have to offer, and if you're a YouTube person, you know, you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Become a subscriber. I love subscribers. They make me happy and smiley and giggly inside. I should write a song about that. smiley and giggly and happy inside. All right, that's it for this week. I will see you next week. Take care.